Money Rocks with Eric Bolling. Business beyond Wall Street.
Gibbstown, New Jersey, population 4,000, give or take a few. This is the latest forum for Governor Christie of New Jersey to sort of meet the people and get in touch with the people. These audiences are not screened. They can be his supporters. Invariably, there are more than a few critics. He takes on one and all. And invariably, what happens in rooms like these become the stuff of YouTube sensations. The governor, at forums that are as obscure on paper as any you've ever heard of, has become a political rock star because of what happens in rooms like this. What do you make of teachers? Because they really seem to dislike you.
Now, listen, that's wrong. Teachers don't dislike me. The teachers' union dislikes me. And there's a real difference between teachers and the teachers' union.
Do you think there's a disconnect between the teachers and the union?
I think there's absolutely a disconnect, and I know it
but
both
they're out
anecdotally.
For blood, Governor. I mean, they're out to say you're starving kids in the classroom. You're taking away every program known to man.
Sure, of course they are. They're wrong. And they're dramatizing it, and they're playing to the grandstand, they're playing to their own constituency. I get all that.
But do you think that criticism, and they've waged it in the press and elsewhere, is what's hurting your poll numbers?
No, I think the fact that I have to make really hard choices, that I've cut every department in state government, and every one of those cuts affects some people directly. We're having a 9% reduction in spending year to year from last year to this year. That's unprecedented in New Jersey. And so when you make those hard choices, you know that you're going to anger some people or disappoint some people or hurt some people. I don't like doing that. But this is the job I got hired to do. And if I capitulate, if I continue to kick the problem down the road to my children or my grandchildren, then I will have failed in this job. And so that's why I said right from the beginning, I don't care about re-election. Because if you care about re-election too much, then you look at every one of those polls you're talking about, Neil, and you go, oh, maybe I should back off a little bit, tack a little this way, tack a little that way. No. This is who I am. This is what I got elected to do. And at the end of it, this state will be a better place. It doesn't mean that I'll necessarily be re-elected, because I will anger special interest groups that are powerful in this state. But I am not going to back off of what I promised to do. That's my covenant with the people of the state, and if it means my poll numbers drop, that's the way it goes. And if it means in 4 years that they say I want someone else to be governor, that's the way it goes. I have 4 kids between 6 and 16, and you know what that means. I'm working for the rest of my life anyway. So if it's this job or something else, it doesn't matter.
We'll join the club on that. Governor, you have taken on unions of all sorts since coming in, and many union leaders have targeted you in attack ads that have gone viral nationally themselves. And one of the things that typical union members will say, or the ones they talk to for these ads, is, I paid into these benefits. These are benefits I was promised years ago, and now along comes Christie to say, well, I'm not going to get them. He's broken a covenant. He's broken a promise. Never mind, it was never your covenant or your promise. You've inherited a lot of this. What do you think of that argument that public workers feel you have a bullseye on them?
Well, first of all, the argument's simply not true, because what I'm doing is trying to change the pension system in New Jersey so the pension's actually there for them. Our pension system is $46 billion in debt. $46 billion in debt. If we don't change, that pension won't be there for the people who are complaining about it right now.
But are you addressing the pensions for those who come on, or are you feeling that everyone who's on the payroll now, everyone has a benefit now, everyone has to give a pound of flesh?
Well, what we've done so far is change the rules for new hires. And we did that in the first 60 days. And that was something people said could never be done, is to change these pension and benefit rules.
But the real money is in the establishment.
Well, that's right, and that's why we have to go to the next step. And I've said this, and the legislature has said we have to move to the next step. We've been pretty busy. We did pension and benefit reform in the first 60 days. Now we're going to balance an $11 billion budget deficit without a tax increase. Then we're moving to what we're going to talk about today, which is constitutionally capping people's property taxes at no greater increase than 2.5% per year, and the only way they can do it is if the voters themselves vote to increase their taxes. And then after we're done with that, we'll move on to dealing with additional pension and benefit reform. But in the end, remember something. The public sector has been shielded from this recession in New Jersey. People all across New Jersey have lost their jobs. If they've kept their jobs, they're paying more for their benefits. They're making less money. They've at least had their salaries frozen, if not cut, and had hours reduced. And yet their property taxes continue to go up. Why? Because we've continued to give public sector workers 4% and 5% increases, despite the fact that there's zero inflation. We've continued to say that the teachers union is right, that teachers in the main should have to pay nothing for family health coverage, medical, dental, and vision. I mean, there's no one in the world who has this deal, and the property taxpayers, the ones who have lost their jobs, the ones who have had their hours reduced, the ones who are paying more for their own health benefits if they have them, they're the ones picking up the tab. Now listen, shared sacrifice is shared sacrifice, and the public sector unions have been shielded from that, and it's got to stop.